So the Apostle Paul has left Jerusalem after connecting with James and Peter and John. He's gone back, and now he picks up the story with Peter arriving in Antioch, up in Galatia. So Peter's traveled from Jerusalem to Antioch, where tradition has it that he became a fixture in the church there as the leader of the church in Antioch. And he says, Paul tells the story, when Cephas came to Antioch, I opposed him to his face because he stood condemned. For before certain men came from James, he used to eat with the Gentiles. But when they arrived, he began to draw back and separate himself from the Gentiles because he was afraid of those who belonged to the circumcision group. The other Jews joined him in his hypocrisy, so that by their hypocrisy, even Barnabas was led astray. Well, that sure talks about the power of influence and tradition. When Peter left Jerusalem, traveled to Antioch, and kind of settled in there, he fit right in. He harmonized with the gospel that Paul had been preaching to the Gentiles, that everyone, Jew and Gentile, is welcome in the kingdom through Jesus Christ. Doesn't matter what your background was, and it doesn't matter if you're circumcised or not in the flesh. You must be circumcised with the circumcision made without hands. Then you're part of the new covenant. And Peter was right in line with that until some of the Jewish believers from Jerusalem joined them in Antioch. And when they came from Jerusalem, from James to Antioch, Cephas, Peter, then began withdrawing from the uncircumcised Christians, those that hadn't been physically moved into the Mosaic law before they became Christian. And Paul said, I opposed him to his face, which, by the way, is the best way to confront anyone who is practicing something contrary to the will of God. Oppose them to their face. Take it straight to them. Matthew chapter 18 gives us the same concept from the lips of Christ himself, where he says, if your brother sins against you, go to him in private and confront him face to face. If he repents, you've won your brother. If not, then take it to 2 or 3 witnesses. If he repents, then you've won your brother. If not, then take it to the whole church. Where here, Paul says, I confronted Peter to his face for the hypocrisy that he was bringing into the fellowship here in Antioch. All this work that we've been doing to present the gospel to these uncircumcised Gentiles, that they can be Christian. And now, Peter, you're condemning yourself, because before the contingency came from Jerusalem, from James, you had no problem sitting at the same table, worshiping together, sharing a meal together with these Gentile brothers and sisters. But now that the circumcision has come, this group from Jerusalem, now you're saying, oh no, we can't do that. He says, your own actions earlier condemn your actions now. And it was so influential that Peter and several of the other believers there in Galatia, in Antioch, participated in this hypocrisy that even Barnabas himself was swayed and began to withdraw from the Gentile brothers and sisters. There's some really good lessons here. One scrolling across the bottom of the screen is the traditions that we inherit, whether they're right or wrong, have remaining influence in our own lives. So I want to encourage you to take a lesson from Peter's mistake. If you're part of the Roman Catholic Church and you see that Peter here, venerated by the Romish doctrine as the first pope, he was 180 degrees off. He was completely wrong in this. Peter confronted him to his face. Peter's apostleship was just as valid as Paul's apostleship. And Paul called him on it. Said, look, what you're doing is wrong. Obviously, Peter repented. I mean, we see that. And things were brought back into line. So if you know a brother or sister who is acting in a way that's contrary to the will of God, be willing to confront them on this, because their disobedience will have an impact, an infectious, contagious impact on the believers around them. Love them enough, love the Christ enough, love the body of Christ enough to say, hey, you cannot do that, and call it for what it really is. Be motivated by love, passion, and compassion, and speak the truth in love. Love is our motive. Love is our MO, our modus operandi. Love is what we do because our God is love. And Christ is the expression of that love in the flesh. The Bible is the expression of that love in word. And you are the expression of that love in your family, your home, in your workplace, in the marketplace. God bless you as you move through your day. He does love you, and we love you too.